In a world that's just buzzing with constant notifications, endless to-do lists, and a low hum of anxiety, where do we actually find a moment of real, genuine peace? Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty surprising source, a 3,000-year-old poem that holds some powerful secrets for our very modern lives.
And get this, an AI was recently asked to figure out the most searched Bible passages online. And what came in at number 2? Searched by people from every imaginable faith and background all over the world. You guessed it, Psalm 23. It kicks off with this line that you've probably heard before, written 3,000 years ago by a man who actually started his life as a shepherd, King David. So this isn't just some pretty poetry. This is a declaration from someone who knew exactly what he was talking about, a relationship built on deep personal trust.
So that brings us to the big question, right? What is the secret sauce here? Why does this ancient poem still bring so much comfort to so many people, even folks who might not call themselves religious? Okay, let's unpack it.
First things first, to really get what David is saying, we have to understand what it actually meant to be a shepherd. And, well, our modern idea might be a little romanticized.
Yeah, our mental picture of shepherding is usually all peaceful, right? Rolling green hills, fluffy clouds, happy little sheep. But the reality for David and ancient Israel, it was a harsh, unforgiving wilderness. We're talking more rock and sand than grass, a land full of predators where one wrong move could be your last. A shepherd's job wasn't serene. It was incredibly demanding and super dangerous.
And this is so cool. The Hebrew word used here for shepherd is ra'ah, and it's not a noun, it's a verb. It's an action word. It means to actively feed, to provide, to guide and protect. This is not a guy just leaning on a staff watching from a distance. Nope. This is a hands-on, 24/7 commitment to keeping these animals alive.
So, knowing how intense the shepherd's job is, it kind of brings up a question for our own lives. If the shepherd is working that hard, what does that say about us, the sheep, in this metaphor? I mean, why is it so hard for us to truly rest, even when we're on vacation?
David writes that the shepherd makes me lie down. Now, that little detail is incredible. You see, sheep are prey animals. They're naturally anxious. They literally do not lie down unless they feel 100% safe from every possible threat. For a sheep, lying down is an act of complete and total trust. So what stops them, and what stops us, from getting to that place of rest?
So what keeps a sheep on its feet? Well, an author and former shepherd named Philip Keller, he totally nailed it. He said there are 2 main barriers, and man, they translate perfectly to our lives. First, it's the fear of not having enough, let's call it hunger. And second, it's the torment of constant irritation, we'll call those pests.
All right, let's look at that first one, the fear of lack. This is a deep, primal fear that something we need is going to run out, our own metaphorical hunger. For us, this isn't just about food, is it? It's that pit in your stomach about the future. It's the stress over your career, the anxiety about paying the bills. It's that nagging worry that we won't have what we need for ourselves and our families. That constant hunger is what keeps us restless, unable to truly lie down and rest.
And the Psalm's answer is right back there in that very first line. I shall not want. A better way to say that is I lack nothing. Now, this isn't a promise of a mansion and a sports car. It's a declaration of trust. It's saying, my shepherd knows the way. He knows where the food and water are, and he'll get me there. It's about letting go of the enormous burden of having to figure it all out by yourself.
But hey, even if our basic needs are met, there's that second, sneakier reason we can't find peace. And that's the pests, the things that torment our minds.
For sheep, this is a literal nightmare. Tiny flies and insects will try to lay eggs in their nostrils. And the infestation, the irritation, the pain, it can drive a sheep so crazy that it will deliberately bang its head against a rock, sometimes to death, just to get some relief. It's awful.
So how does that translate to us? Well, for sheep, the pests get in through the nose. For us, they almost always get in through our ears.
Think about it for a second. The whispers of gossip, the anxious rumors flying around the office, that constant doom scrolling.
the cycle of bad news. And maybe the most vicious pest of all, our own internal voice, that negative self-talk that burrows into our thoughts and just eats away at our peace from the inside out. Those are our mental pests.
So, what does the Good Shepherd do about this? David writes, "He anoints my head with oil." A shepherd would literally take a thick mixture of oil and spices and cover the sheep's head and nose with it. This created a protective barrier, a slick shield that the insects just couldn't land on or get through.
And this ancient practice is just such a powerful metaphor for our own mental health. Anointing our head with oil means we're intentionally creating a barrier. We are actively shielding our minds from the toxic negativity, the gossip, and the fear that's always trying to burrow its way in.
So when you put it all together, when you combine the provision for our hunger with the protection from our pests, we finally get to the Psalm's central secret for finding true peace. This is the absolute core of it. The psalmist's not promising a life without problems. The wilderness is still wild, and the pests are still buzzing around. The deep, profound peace it's talking about doesn't come from having a perfect life. It comes from the confident presence of a protector you can absolutely trust.
Ultimately, finding this kind of peace comes down to a single, really powerful act: letting go. It means releasing that exhausting, crushing burden of trying to be the master of your own universe, of navigating every threat and providing for every single need all by yourself. It's admitting that a greater, more capable guide is in charge. So it turns out this 3,000-year-old guide offers a pretty timeless roadmap to peace. It says the shepherd is always ready to provide and protect. So the only question left for us is this: what fear of hunger or what mental pest are you willing to let go of first?